4 months ago I did my first video, and I planned to do one basically on month 3, but it just didn't work out like that. Between us traveling to New Zealand, one thing another, plus running around after Frankie, it just didn't happen. But I have been wanting to do this video honestly for so many weeks, but I was waiting for the right time and for a number of things to basically kind of come into fruition before I decided to do it. So we are pregnant. Yep. And double whammy, we are pregnant with, I don't know if you can see it, twins. So yeah, we have twin mulligan babies coming July 2025. They're not identical. And yeah, that is our news so far. So let's rewind. 4 months ago, I did an update video to record what it was going to be like for me to go on to my progesterone cream. And that was basically to get my hormones back regulated, and for me to feel balanced again, get my cycle back in order and everything. Fast forward, I finished my first tube. So this is technically my second tube. I finished my first tube and we were getting ready to go to New Zealand. We were in New Zealand and I ordered my second tube. And it was going fantastic. Everything, I could feel my cycle was back to normal. My hormones were definitely regulated. I was on top of the world, and I am on top of the world. And then when we went to New Zealand, we were there maybe 4 days, and I said to Callum, my cycle is late. Normally it's always late when we fly, but I just had this intuition feeling that I may be pregnant. And he was like, well, if you think you're pregnant, get a test. And then the last time we were in New Zealand, when I took a test, I had a good glass of wine with Callum's dad. And the moment I drank it, I had this feeling. I was like, oh, I bet you aren't pregnant. So I ended up having a glass of wine with Callum's dad and got that feeling again. I was like, I need to stop because I think I'm pregnant. Oh, what the fuck. So the next day I went to the supermarket, my go-to place in New Zealand, because supermarkets here aren't the best. And when I went, I walked down past the aisle where the pregnancy tests were. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw one into the basket and take it when I get home. Fast forward, took the test, and this is my 5th or 6th test, okay? So I took the test, and the line, I swear to God, it says wait 3 minutes. It came up so strong within 30 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, I'll have to take another one. And then I took another one, and again, bam, sure as hell, 2 lines again. I was like, yep, definitely pregnant. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to tell Callum. So we were going to go for a walk with Frankie. So I put it in my pocket. We went down to the local park. And then when he wasn't looking, I gave Frankie the test. I actually had video of it. Yeah, and it was just such a special moment. And just to see Callum's face. Because we weren't actively trying, but we weren't actively not trying, if that makes sense. So if we felt pregnant, we felt pregnant. We honestly didn't think I'd fall pregnant as quick. We thought it would be 6-7 months down the line into 2025, and then we would find out we were pregnant. Yep. So then after 2 or 3 days of just enjoying the moments of being pregnant, telling my mum and dad, on my side of the family, and then Callum's side of the family. I woke up one of the mornings and I just had this really, really bad, intense cramping, as if I was going to get my full menstrual cycle. And I said it to Callum, I was like my lower back's really sore, my boobs are real tender. I think I'm getting my period. And then that night I went to the toilet and I had my full period. And I was super gutted, because while I do know you can spot during pregnancy, I didn't expect to see that much blood. So then we took the precaution, we rang Sarah. So Sarah is basically my sister-in-law, who is a fantastic nurse. And she was like, look, just don't take a chance, for peace of mind, because you won't be back in Bali for another 2 weeks. I think it's a probably good idea if you go to Women's Christchurch, the hospital. I'm just really tired now, cramping on my right hand side. I'm still really sore. And we've just basically got information from the doctor that when she checked my HCG blood, which basically tells you how far along you are, because that's the hormone that's in your urine and stuff and in your blood, it's saying that I'm 8 to 10 weeks, which is crazy, because that means I've actually had a period within my first trimester, and then this second bleed would technically be another period. I don't know, so fingers crossed. The plan is we're going to go to gynae later on. And the doctor's going to do like a pelvic ultrasound and then also do an ultrasound and see what's going on. He'd kind of spoke about miscarriage, and to be honest, I thought that's the way it was going. Honestly, there's so many things up in the air right now, so many question marks, but yeah, pretty shit. So we went in and we got tested, and I basically showed them my pad and everything, and they were like, look, there's 3 things we need to do. The first thing that we need to do is basically we have to confirm that you're pregnant, so we'll take your blood test. The second thing we need to do is see like why you're bleeding, so we'll do an ultrasound. There we'll either hear heartbeat or no heartbeat. At that point in time, when I looked at my app, technically, because I had changed it then to say that we were pregnant, it was coming in that I was like 6 weeks. So they asked me how many weeks I thought I was. I said 6 weeks. I told them I tracked it like religiously. They were like, yep, that's fine. And then the third thing I would have to do was get like a physical check by the doctor. So they would have to check that the cervix, if it was open, it was a miscarriage. If it wasn't, it wasn't. A lot of mixed emotions, definitely at that time. Because Callum and I had like then set our heart on the fact that we were going to be parents again. And just going through the big wave of excitement and just overall like just soaking it all in that we were going to be pregnant again. And we had such a great pregnancy the first time around, and for that excitement for the second one, and my head automatically went to like logistics, what we were going to do, because we always said if we would have a second baby we were going to have it in Bali, and that was the plan. So yep, got tested, and the bloods, they came back, they said, yep, you're definitely pregnant, but they're like, that's going to stay in your blood for at least 2 weeks, even if you had miscarried. And then we waited a couple of hours, and like this grievance kind of nurse came in. She sits down, she's lovely. She's like, I'm just going to talk you through the process. Like, you're going to go get an ultrasound. If it comes back that we can't find the heartbeat, it basically means that you may be miscarrying, but we still have to confirm it with the physical. So, okay. So they put me in a wheelchair, and I was like, I can walk. And they're like, sorry, you can't. Like, the minute we admit you, we have to wheel you. So they wheeled me all the way to ultrasound, which was just really weird, because I was like, I'm fit, you know, that way. Like, I didn't feel like I was faint or anything. But anyway, went in the wheelchair, and Callum and I just waited and waited. And then we went in, and there was a lovely woman from like radiology, and she was going to take like the ultrasound. So she basically said, look, it's really clear on the thing why you're here, you're bleeding, we need to figure out why you're bleeding, and we need to confirm that your pregnancy is either viable or not viable. So, okay. And then she was like, look, I can't find the heartbeat, but it's not that. She was like, your cervix is kind of back, so we need to do like an internal ultrasound. I said, yep, this is totally normal. Because on the first pregnancy, the doctor was literally saying to us, you have to get an internal until you reach like a certain number of weeks. That was fine. So she left the room, got the ultrasound, came back in, and she did the ultrasound. And in that moment, in my head, I was like, I'm definitely still pregnant. I know I am. And like the bleed is just a bleed. Colin was super supportive. He was just holding my hand, and we were just trying to be present as possible to hear what she was going to say. So she was kind of flicking back and forth like on her screen and things, and what felt like forever probably was only like 15 seconds. And then she just really calmly turned to us. She's like 28, 29. She just calmly turned to us, and she just said, congratulations, you're 100% still pregnant, and the heartbeats are really healthy because you have not 1 but 2 babies. You are pregnant with twins.
Shock is an understatement. We just found out we're pregnant with twins.
And I immediately start crying. Honestly, I was so in shock, because one, I thought there was a possibility that we were actually going to be told we were having a miscarriage, and 2, to do a full 360 and to be told it wasn't a miscarriage, that we were actually lucky enough to be having twins. Callum's Garmin like shot up because his heart rate just like spiked, but I didn't know that until afterwards. And I think if anyone was to be like a fly on the wall and just to record it, it would have been just incredible to record, because she was just like, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes because it seems like it's very overwhelming. So I just kept turning to Callum. He's on my left hand side. I just kept turning to him, and I was like, babe, like, this wasn't supposed to happen. We weren't supposed to have twins. We weren't even supposed to be pregnant this quick, close to Frankie. Like, she's going to be so small. But like, oh my God, we're having 2 babies, and what does this mean? Like, are both babies okay? And then like, doctor was super nice. She was like, yep, your both babies are really healthy. She's like, basically what happens is when you're having twins, sometimes the implantation can rub off each other, like they're sacs, and then there can be a little tear, and then that's what you basically bleed out. But both heart rates were super healthy. They were really happy with it, and they signed off. They just gave me like my basically like prenatals for like the first 2 or 3 weeks to get us going, and before we would have a chance to like find our midwife. Yeah, like crazy. So that was all in November. And then fast forward, we came back to Bali. We went to go see Dr. Stella. She was our doctor, our OGBYN with Frankie before. So we're going to do what we did last time. We're not going to give birth to the babies in Bali. We're actually going to go back to New Zealand to have them for a number of reasons. We have a great support system both here and in New Zealand, but when it comes to the support system in New Zealand, it's just that little bit bigger. So I don't know where I'm going to be at like 32, 34 weeks in terms of like how movable or mobile I'm going to be and how active I'm going to be with Frankie. And I'm just trying to think about all these things. Like, while Bali is fantastic as a country, I also just want to make sure that I can do like all the recoup and everything properly from like having the twins. So we found a fantastic midwife before we left. Her name is Sarah. So what's basically going to happen is all the tests and everything that we do here, we send her all the documents, like all the results and stuff. Then when I get to New Zealand at like week 30, she will basically send me to the hospital. They'll do all the scans and everything, and then she'll put like her whole like birthing plan in place, and then along with the second plan and third plan for the event that anything like changes and stuff. But yeah, there's so many different things that I didn't know when it comes to having twins. And Callum and I, obviously, like, because we thought we kind of knew most of the stuff from having our first pregnancy. But there's certainly things we didn't. So we decided that we wanted to do the NIPT. So like it's like NIPT, which is basically a like harmony test that they basically take my blood and they test the baby's blood within it. So because we're having twins, we thought we would be able to find out the two genders. Unfortunately, you don't. You can only find out one gender. So we know we're so far having one boy. We actually don't know what the second sex is yet. But everything is clear. So the NIPT test basically tests for like a whole lot of different chromosomes and any kind of like genetic predisposition. And we got it done on Frankie and it was clear, and we wanted to get it done on the second pregnancy as well. And thankfully it was clear. So now we're just waiting to find out what the second sex is. So I am currently, I don't know if you can see it, 1 second. Whoa. I am currently 16 weeks and 1 day pregnant. Honestly, it has gone by so fast. So fast. So my parents and my sister actually fly in on like March 1st. They're here for 2 weeks. They're actually going to get the chance to come to our second set of like ultrasound like scans with us, and hopefully we'll be able to find out the second gender there. So it's going to be super exciting because my side of the family will actually be in the room with us to find out the gender. So that's been super exciting. Because Callum and I last week went to get our scans, but the baby was like fully hiding. I'm not messing. We had one baby that was like looking up and she's like, yep, there's your boy. And then the second baby was like, head back. I'll put a picture of the ultrasound in. It was like head back, and it was just like squished in at the side. Like, I don't know how these babies, as they're going to get bigger, they're going to get the space. When I was pregnant on Frankie, when I turned around, like, people didn't know I was pregnant. So I'm like, is my bum just going to go out real far this way, or is it going to go this way? Like, incredible. So yeah, that's been our update. So actually, I still take this during my pregnancy, because when you're having twins, they highly suggest take progesterone to keep the pregnancy, because you're just using a lot more for like the first 12 to 20 weeks. So I've been taking that every day, like same spots, like in like my arm and like in like the side of like my breast and stuff. So yeah, we've already passed the first trimester. We've told like our close friends and we've told our close family, and then if people meet, we tell them. But other than that, like, we haven't like really released anything on social media or anything yet. And I'm basically doing these videos as like a collective for me, because I look back now on like the videos when I was pregnant with Frankie, and it just went so fast. And being in the depth of like motherhood now at Frankie and having her nearly 15 months by the end of this week, you just forget the pregnancy. Like, it's just like this wave is just gone. Like, you just forget it. And even though I wrote stuff in my journals, like, I didn't have time to write. I haven't had time to like really get into like the journal side of like being pregnant this time around. So I decided that I'm gonna just do like little vlogs to record it along the way. And if people follow, people follow. And if they don't, they don't. Like, be it. That's fine. But yeah, Super, super, super exciting. So the due date is technically the 31st of July. Callum and I and Frankie will leave basically like the 31st of May, and I'll be week 30 by then. Apparently I can go the whole way up to like week 38, 39. I'm still planning on having a natural pregnancy because I've had a natural pregnancy on Frankie. If I can reach 38 and haven't had the babies yet, I'm automatically given an elective C-section. So that's basically just because the weight load and everything for the mother, the heart and the health of the mom. It's so that she can decide if and the midwife decides that they think it's good for like the C-section. Honestly, I'm happy to go either way. Like, I'm happy for either birth style. I just want the both babies to be healthy, and I wanted to enjoy it as much as possible because this is actually my last pregnancy. Callum and I always wanted 3 babies, and I'm gonna have 3 babies in 2 pregnancies. So I'm just gonna enjoy this as much as possible and like document it as much as possible along the way. We have so many things happening in the background. Like, we have the villas being built, and we're going to be moving them down to Uluwatu in like December 2025. So we'll be moving down with like 3 kids. So when the new babies are born, so when the twins are born, we will officially have 3 babies under the age of 2. So like Frankie will be 19 months, give or take. Like, that is mind blowing. Mind blowing. We've spoke to a few friends and who have twins or like been twins running the family, and they've all said the same thing. Like, you just can't mentally prepare for twins like until like they're both in your hands. Like, you just can't. And you can try it as much as possible. Small things we are doing though, like I normally do Frankie's like night routine. So at the moment we're trying to do like just a soft approach that Callum will take her during the night. Because the worst thing that would happen is in July she feels like she's lost me, and I love doing her night routine with her, but I just know that it may not always be possible when the twins and I'm breastfeeding like two, like what's going to feel like every hour on the hour. So I just want to make sure that Frankie gets her sleep and she's prioritized that way, and then I can look after the twins, and then like we can all be together, and it just works in harmony. But yeah, I actually wrote down a couple of things because when I got pregnant and when we found out we were pregnant, I'm not gonna lie, like I was definitely super excited but super shocked. Like, shocked to the point that I actually reached out to my therapist and I was like, hey, I need to book in a call. She's actually a twin mom as well. She's a twin mom as well. And I just reached out to her and I was like, I am really in shock. And she's like, it's totally normal. She was like, one, you probably never expected, because you weren't like mentally trying to get pregnant. You weren't like waiting at the test for it to become positive. Because of that, then when we found out we were pregnant, it was a surprise that it was twins. My brain just couldn't wrap around it. Like, I love to be in control of things. People who know me, I love to be in control. I love to set like little schedules, little timelines. And I think just to find out that it was twins, even though Callum and I always said from the time that we started going out that we would 100% have twins. So we knew it was coming down the line. I just don't think I thought it would be as close to Frankie, which isn't a problem. Like, she's at the age now where she's loving being around like babies, and she's wanting to be around like people more. So I think this is actually perfect timing. And if I wasn't supposed to get pregnant, I wouldn't be pregnant. But yeah, like I just went through this massive mom guilt. Like, I think because in my first video I spoke about like how I felt like Frankie only got me kind of at my best part of being a mom from like month 8, and then she's got me like really good every month since. And then to find out I'm pregnant and that it was like already like 2 months pregnant and that we don't have like 8 months left of being pregnant, I had this pure mom guilt of like I was taking away all this thing from Frankie. And then I said it to Callum, and I said it to like a few like my friends and like my mom and stuff. And like what my close friend said to me, she was like, you can only do the very best with what you have. And like your best looks different each day to day. So like I can't feel like Frankie didn't get the best part of me for the first 8 months, right? And it's not fair for me to be so critical. And it's not fair for me to be so critical and like be hard on myself for that. Like, I did the best that I could, and I know I did, but I still had this natural like mom guilt that I just I got pregnant too quickly when it came to really giving Frankie the chance. But now that I am pregnant, and it's been incredible, right? Because in the space of like the last 2 months, because we're 4 months in now, over the space of the last 2 months, Frankie has become somewhat attuned to the fact that I'm pregnant. So she points to my belly and she touches it and she wants to touch it, right? And she'll go, babies, babies, or she'll go, big belly, mama, big belly. And she'll touch it, but she's super gentle. Like, Frankie is so hyper at the best of times. Like, she literally like bounces off the sofa and she bounces into the pool, like, and everything. But when it comes to my belly, she's just really calm and she just touches it gently, and sometimes she'll put her ear to it and stuff. So that's been really nice and really comforting on that connection level. I think she's also found that like my hormones have changed, because she likes to be cradled like a baby again, which has been so nice. To even just have that with her, and like the connection definitely like deepening again even more. So it's been so nice. Yeah, we obviously have to go through like a lot of logistics in order to have the twins and stuff back here. We're really hoping my mom is going to give us 5 months when we get back as like an extra dig out, because obviously 2 babies, 2 sets of hands, and then the fabulous Rye is going to be happening with Frankie. But yes, and that is basically it. I haven't really had any symptoms yet. Like my first trimester, I had really, really bad acne, like all down here, for like the first like 5 weeks. And then super tired in the evening time, not as much in like the daytime, so still pretty active. So I'm still training 4 days a week, if not 5 days a week, trying to get in walks as much as possible. If I don't exercise, my body literally feels it. Like my hips get super sore, I get a lot of cramping, and it actually just doesn't work really well for my body. Like, I trained the entire pregnancy for Frankie, and I plan to do the same as much as possible during this pregnancy, within reason. Like, I'm going to listen to my body. If I feel like I'm really tired and cramping, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm going to do like my yoga, and I'm going to like lie on the sofa, and I'm going to play with Frankie, and I'm going to just go at a different speed. So that's the plan. And then what else have I got? Let me see. 1 second. Yes, I've had like a little bit like less appetite at times, and I'm at this stage now where like when we go to get our dinners in the evening, Callum's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm eating for the sake of eating, you know, that way. But I haven't had like this massive increase in calories or anything. I haven't been craving any foods. My goal is basically just to take my prenatals and my like liver capsules to get like my iron levels up, and then when it's not raining, because Bali is currently in the biggest tropical cyclone in like the last 10 years. For like the last 5 days, we've like 5 more days to go, to get like 20 minutes of sun on the babies every day. I did that during Frankie's pregnancy, and it was honestly amazing. Because we're heading back to New Zealand in May this year, 2025, so it'll be like June. That's actually the thick of their winter, and I haven't had a winter in 4 years. So my mom and sister are actually bringing over winter clothes for me and Frankie. Obviously not much is going to fit me by then, because I'll be 30 weeks. But I plan to have as much as possible, like embrace everything I can here, and to record like my baby bump growing. And yeah, that is it. That is my update, and I hope you enjoy and stay around, because I'm going to try doing another one next month when I'm 5 months updated. Well, 5 months pregnant. But yeah, that is it. So if you want to follow what's going to be pure chaos of me getting ready to have twins, follow along. I've already kind of started buying a couple of things, but I'll talk about all that in like my next video. And yeah, that is it.